Today we will be testing out DJI Waypoints missions, and we will test it with both the Mini 5 Pro and Mavic 3 Pro. And the goal is to find out how reliable and accurate those waypoints, and if it can be used for day to night transition, for example, or for any seasonal changes, or for any other type of work. So I will use that place today for the landing pad. So let's wait until it will lock all the satellites. Okay, so we have 28, 29 satellite, which is great. So now I will use exactly same waypoint mission, which I prepared in advance in the Litchi app, and I will just load the waypoint mission over here. And instead of using the hyperlapse or recording the video, what we will do, we will use timed shots. And as you can see, I switch here to the 2-second interval timed shots, and this is how we will shoot today's video. Now let's take off. I will rise to about somewhere over here. Now let's check also the settings. Okay, so usually for the hyperlapse, I will suggest to switch off the manual obstacle avoidance, just because sometimes it just thinks some sort of wind just stops the drone. So I will switch it off. And then let me just check advanced settings. Yes, so the signal loss is return to home. So now let's actually start recording the photos, and we will actually start the mission. Now we will fly 3 times consecutively for day flight for both drones, and then we will do it also for the night shoots, just to figure out if it makes any difference to fly during the day and during the night. So as you can see, the drone is flying its way past, and I will speed it up just to save some time, and we will revert to the moment where I will be landing until we will do another run. Okay, so the first run is finished, and as you can see now the drone is returning to home. So I will just cancel automatic return to home and will fly manually. Now as we landed, we still have some battery left, so let's do another run. We will do exactly the same mission.
Take off.
So same starting position as before. Now again, let's load our mission. So we're in the same settings as before, and let's start recording the photos and start the mission. So again, I will fast forward this flight, and I will do the same flight the third time, and then we will switch to Mavic 3 Pro. Okay, so now switching to Mavic 3 Pro, and we will do exactly the same. So we will take exactly same mission that we pre-planned, and let's see how the drone will do. As we can see here on the screen, we now have 19 satellites. We will go again to the missions. So we will load our mission, which I believe this one. Yeah. So we'll just cross-check. Yes, as you can see, exactly same point of interest, exactly same path. Now we also again in the timed photo interval, which is 2 seconds. So exactly the same. Let's take off.
Take off.
Okay. So we will take off roughly to the same altitude. Enable the photo, And by the way, also in the settings, I disabled the optical avoidance just in case it will decide to stop when you're doing fast. So, let me start the photo recording and then go. So, as you can see, the drone is getting the same height, 40 meters. Yeah. Now it's getting to the position, and for whatever reason, it's not moving. Not sure what is happening. So let's close the recording over here. Okay. So I have to put again the start of the mission and then start running. This is weird, but it's different from what we have in the Mini 5 Pro. Let's see how it goes. I will fast forward the flight and will be shown again the recording once it will finish the first run, and then we'll start returning home. So, okay, so now the drone finished the mission and returning back to home. And I will cancel it for now, the automatic one, and we'll land a little bit further over there, just because there's some hole. And let's actually see if it will happen same time now with waypoints when we need to put it twice on the play button. I will load the waypoint missions again, and now let's start recording and start the mission. Yes, it's exactly the same as we had before, so I will have to stop it and then start again. And now start. Again, I will stop the recording for now, and we'll do the third round without the camera recording, and then we will move to our night shoot. See you in that part. Now, as you can see, it's totally dark over here, and I apologize for the sound in the Mavic 3 Pro flights. During the day, my DJI mic actually disconnected, so the audio is a little bit weird there, but nevertheless, we will start our night flight now, and we will do exactly the same. The only difference, maybe I will just do 2 flights instead of 3 for both drones. So we will start with the Mini 5 Pro, and I actually got my landing pad just in time. So we will place it to the same place where we had it before. Another thing that we will also change in night shoot, I will, instead of auto, I will put everything to the manual just to avoid flickering and exposure change. So let me
edge of altitude zone.
record the screen. Okay.
Home point updated.
So let's wait for the satellites to come in, because I believe with 13 the starting point can be a little bit different. Okay, 14. Okay, it's already 22, 23. Great. Let's now set our settings in this case. So we will, instead of auto, go to the Pro. We will set our ISO level to around 3. And yeah, actually we will maybe even go less than that, because I will set the shutter pretty long. So let's try like that. Let's do a test. Yeah, I think that will work for us. It's pretty bright, but we can reduce brightness later on in post. But at least we will have all the details. Okay, great. Actually, let's set ISO to 200. I think it will be better, because that one is a little bit over brightened. Okay, so we're ready to take off.
Take off. Home point updated.
It's always nice to see all those bottom lights to come to the play. So now let's open our waypoint mission. Let's just cross check. Yeah, that's good. And let's click next and start the mission, and before that we will click recording. So let's see how it goes in the night. So it went to the altitude of the first waypoint. Now it should rotate, yeah, correct. And now it should start the mission. So I will stop the recording for now and let it go for 5 minutes, and then once the return to home will be initiated, I will start the recording again, and hopefully this time the mic will not be disconnected. So see you. Okay, so it's almost finished the first pass, and by the way, we are lucky that the wind is exactly the same as during the day. It's around 5-6 kilometers per hour, which is really great. So now let's see how the drone will actually come back, and I will test out the automatic landing, a return to home, and let's hope it will not land into the
Return
snow.
to home.
And I think I will need a little bit reduce the ISO next time because it's a little overblown, so I will set it to 100 next pass. Okay, let's see now how it will land. Hopefully it will land properly, or I will just cancel it. No, it's not getting there, so we'll cancel it and land manually. So it was supposed to land it somewhere over here.
Landing.
Okay, so now I will do the second run. So I will just reduce ISO to 100. And we will do another round. So battery is at 75%. This is great. So let's take off.
Take off. Home point updated.
I'm forgetting this one or that one. Yeah, that's the correct one. Next, let's start the mission. Okay, so it's going to the first point and we'll start taking the photos. So hopefully the waypoint pass will be matched, but let's see. So I will now pause the recording. I will get it back once the mission is done. And next I will do same for Mavic 3 Pro. So see you there. Okay, so now we're doing exactly the same with Mavic 3 Pro. So let me just start recording the screen. Okay, so now we will take off, adjust some camera settings, and then go for the mission. So check complete.
Take off. Home point updated.
Okay. Yeah, it's so nice, that light at the bottom. Okay, so now let's set camera settings. Actually, I want to take a look at those blown out areas quickly. Yeah, let me just put everything to manual. So ISO, let's put like that. Again, 1 second for the shutter speed. Aperture we will open as max as we can, but in this case maybe we'll need to go for ISO 200 or 100. Yeah, let's do 200. It will look similar to what we had on the Mini 5 Pro. Okay, so we locked everything. Now after focus also, let's remove that to the infinity. So it's again 2-second interval. Let's now load our mission, which is I believe this one. Next. And let's go. So let's see if this time it will actually start the mission on its own rather than pressing pause and then play again. Yeah, so for some reason it's just scanning and not doing anything. So looks like I will need to pause it again and play. Okay. Yeah, this is weird that it is doing that, but I will figure out later why it's happening. And by the way, if you know the reason for that, please let me know in the comments for solution for this, because it's pretty annoying to do it every time. So I will let it go, and once it's finished, I will again resume the recording, and we will actually see if this time Mini Mavic 3 Pro will land actually to the correct position. Mini 5 Pro all 2 times failed. So see you on the landing. So it's almost finished its first pass, and I will let it automatically go now back to home, and I will do then the next run in exactly in same conditions, and then I will go back to my system at home, and we will actually first check the 3D pass of each flight. So I will convert from logs to Google Earth Pro flight pass, and we will see it in 3D space, and then we will actually check the footage to see how well it is matching during day and night, and Mavic 3 Pro and Mini 5 Pro. So let's see how this guy will land. So it's now on top.
Landing.
Let it go a little bit down, but it seems to me it will also miss a little bit, so we'll have to cancel the landing, otherwise it will land on the snow. Yeah, it's also coming exactly the same spot. So let me cancel, and I will manually just, yeah, this drone is a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit harder to land. Okay, great landing. So now I will take off again. Okay, so now it's rotated, so let's start photos and start the mission. Yeah, this is so weird. So if anybody have solution for this bug, give me in the comments the solution, because it's really annoying. So I will let it run, and then I will land, and then I will go to the system, and we will check all the data from the flight logs, and then we will visually see how well the footage match for both day and night takes. So see you there. Thank you. Now it's time to figure out what actually happened. You have seen the flights day and night, 2 different drones, same missions. But none of that matters if we don't verify it against the data. This is the exact mission I planned in the Lichin Mishi Hub. The same mission was flown by both drones. I exported the missions to Google Earth and also converted every DJI flight log into the Google Earth compatible files. So now we can answer one simple question. Did the drones really fly what the logs say they flew? Let's start with the planned mission itself. As you can see now on the screen, this is the actual Litchi Hub ideal waypoint path that the drone should have followed. Let's overlay the Mini 5 Pro day pass, and as you immediately can see here, there is a significant altitude difference between both paths. So the yellow one is the Litchi Hub, and all of the lower one are the actual flight logs path for the Mini 5. This looks like a DJI error, but it's actually not. It's actually the Litchi Hub mission planning itself. And let me demonstrate you now what the problem is. So this is our initial mission which I planned, and this is what I actually uploaded to the both controllers for both drones. There is two options when you start in the mission planning. There is this altitude mode which is above takeoff and above the ground. So now let me do the switch to the above the ground mode, and as you can see, it actually moves all the waypoints including the point of interest except the starting point. So let's actually take a look how this above the ground path looks like in Google Earth. So I also exported it to the Google Earth, and this is how it looks like. So this second one, which is this one, and as you can see now, at least on the waypoint 2 and waypoint 3, they imagine pretty close to the logs flight path of the Mini 5 Pro. But the starting point is still on the same altitude, and this is exactly what we're seeing over here, because when you switch in the modes, it is not actually changed the starting point. So whenever you plan in the mission, make sure you plan it above the ground, or you will have to manually correct your starting point. And this is crucial because I had one mission pre-planned in very tight space, and it almost crashed my drone into the power lines. You can check the video link at the top, and this exact mistake and how I almost crashed into the power lines. Now let's take a look at the log itself. So I will actually hide the first one over there, and in general, let me just unhide the Mini 5 Pro logs pass. And as you can see here, at least based on the logs, the flight path of the drone was almost ideal. There is some drifts here and there, as you can see here, but that's really close, and I was really happy when I first seen those logs. However, at the end there is some problems over there, and you see that almost at the end of our waypoint mission, the drone just decided to do some weird maneuvers. But overall, at least based on these logs, it did really well. So let me just hide the reference point. And by the way, this pass over here, this drift, this is what I experienced quite a lot, especially when the wind is pretty high. So the drone suddenly moves quite a lot. It's maybe like half meter, and then gradually going to the original flight path. And in this case it just happens once, so it's not that bad, but just be aware that you could experience these sudden drifts on Mini 5 Pro specifically, because it's a really non-heavy drone at all. Now let's also take a look at the Mavic 3 Pro flights, and as you can see, all of them are really close to each other. So there is no difference at all. And if I will just hide the Mini 5 Pro for a while, you can actually see that Mavic 3 Pro performed based on the logs. It performed better, including the end of the flight. It just flew the whole path exactly as it's supposed to fly. This looking really encouraging, and now we will have to check our shot material and then to see if it's actually that great. And if you stop your analysis here, you would conclude that waypoint repeatability is solid. However, let's take a look at the actual footage and figure out the reality. So now we're in DaVinci Resolve, and let's actually compare the actual footage, how well those flights match each other. So we will start from the Mini 5 Pro flights. This is our first flight over here. Then this is the second one. And as you can see immediately, I have it with opacity 50% here. Let me just zoom in. So if we will go from start to the end, you will actually see that the hurting, even of the initial point, was way off. So it is not matching at all. And even if we will try to compensate it by offsetting the position and matching, let's say, this central point here over there, the rest will not actually be matched because the hurting was different, and also the speed difference was not that great. As you can see here, it's matching in one point, and then at the end it's just not getting to the same position at all. I will check the other flights. Let's take a look at the third run that we have here. This actually matches much better than this one, because that one was pretty offsetted. But even this one, let me just do the opacity like this, you can actually see that it's not in exact same position as was logs was saying to us. So you can see that the hurting is off, the overall position in each frame is not exactly the same. And now let's jump quickly to the night shots. So let's first compare night shots between each other. And as you can see over here, let me just do opacity, that there was pretty close, right? The hurting quite well matched between both takes, but there is still some difference between these two passes. And again, we can try to match in 2D those two takes, but as you will see now, if we match in that frame, the other frames still drifting against each other. In reality, as you can see, those flights not as ideal as the logs stated. Now let's take a look at the night footage from the Mavic 3 Pro, and actually, if you will take a look over here, it's not exactly the same as the log stated, but it's still pretty close for both night takes that we have. And with potential 2D transform, we could try to match it, but it's still different, right? It's not exactly the same what logs are stated. And the day one as well was quite different, and I just want to show you one thing over here. So this is our base take, and then we have the second one after this one which we shot. And now take a look over here. You see how different the altitude of the drone was when this take was shot. It's few meters, maybe 5-8 meters different. It's really huge. After seeing this, I reconstructed the real camera pass using photogrammetry. And this gives us the actual 3D trajectory of each flight. Let's take a look what the actual flight path for both drones for day and night takes. We will start with the Mini 5 Pro, and this is the actual camera of the reconstructed flight path from the photogrammetry. And as you can see from the top over here, the difference in the lateral position is quite huge. All of those was pretty close. But then we had this flight, and that's a day shoot, which drifted quite a lot from the initial point over here. And the more it went till the end of the shoot, the more it was deviating from the original flight path. Now that's from the top. Now let's take a look from the side view, just to see what was the difference from the Mini 5 Pro in terms of the altitude. And as you can see, it's not really huge for the Mini 5 Pro, but it's still significant. So if I would measure the difference from one camera to another one, if we will measure from here to here, we will get roughly 1.3 meter of the altitude difference. Maybe 1 meter if we will do the same latitude longitude distance, but it's still around 1 to 2 meters difference for the altitude. That's, I think, in the tolerance of the barometer measurements which DJI using for the altitude measure. But now let's also take a look at the Mavic 3 Pro. And remember, in the footage we had that huge difference in the altitude in one of the takes, and now you will actually see how different that was. So this one are the Mavic 3 Pro flight passes from the photogrammetry Resolve, and as you can see over here, all of those cameras that we have at the top, looking from the side view, is that significant different altitude difference which we saw in DaVinci Resolve. And now let's actually calculate the difference from, let's say, this flight over here. So these three at the top are the day flights, and these two at the bottom is the night flights which we had. So let's even measure the closest one from here to here, and as you can see, the altitude difference is around 7 meters. So, and that's really huge. And by the way, from the top view, if we will check the Mavic 3 Pro flight passes, they was not as bad as the Mini 5 Pro, which was drifting quite a lot in one of the takes. But in terms of the altitude, the Mavic 3 Pro actually behaved even worse than the Mini 5 Pro, because there is so big difference in the altitude. And this is really surprising to me, that the drone which costs triple the cost of the Mini 5 Pro is actually behaving the worst in terms of the altitude. And I went a little bit further and actually decided to find out how come the flight logs stayed in the same position and altitude throughout all of the flights, and why on the actual footage and also on the photogrammetry it is that much of a difference, like 7-8 meters in the altitude, for example. So I checked the flight log specifically for this flight over there when the drone was rising up, and what I found out, let me just demonstrate it to you. So I took this camera over here and I find the metadata of exact same timestamp when this was actually happening, and this is the metadata from that exact camera over here, as you can see. And there is also all these timestamps which help to determine which one was when shot. And as you can see here, the create date was at 1 p.m. 50 minutes and 20 seconds. So I went ahead and I checked out the CSV export of the flight log, and now let's take a look what's happened in those specific timestamps. So this is how the log looking like in the CSV format, and what we're caring about here is the OSD height here. This is what actually height we're supposed to see on screen, and this is the Z speed in miles per hour. And what is that? This is the vertical speed of the drone in each millisecond, and this is like 0.1 second difference. So I will go to the timestamp, which was like 1 p.m. 50 minutes and 20 seconds, and I mark here that it's on this row over there. And as you can see here, we reached the limit of like 130.9 feet of the altitude, And then take a look what's happening in the yellow marked column versus the green one. So if you will check the numbers, so we're around 131 feet above, and we have constant rising speed on the drone itself. And this motion was continuous for 20 seconds. And as you can see over there, the drone is actually rising based on the speed, but same time the altitude is stated on the same position. So it was actually rising much further, but still the altitude was stated exactly the same to somewhere about over here. And my theory about this, that potentially it has something to do with the heating. So while the drone is flying, the motor hits the air inside, and potentially that is affecting the barometer readings somehow. And this is not a proven claim, but if you have some suggestions what could be the reason for that significant 8 meters drift, please comment down below, because this is really huge difference. This is why for serious work like hyperlapses, visual effects, scanning, transitions, you really cannot rely on the waypoints alone, at least on the consumer drones like Mini 5 Pro or Mavic 3 Pro. So if you want to have repeatability and accuracy, you will have to go for enterprise kind of drones and RTK, which is quite costly, or you have to rely on visual effects post-production in order to make it work with the consumers drones. DJI Waypoints missions on the consumer drones looks good in theory, they look clean in logs, but in practice they are not spatially repeatable at the level many people assume. So using this footage that we shot, I actually done the day to night transition for this specific location, and I want to show you the result, which is looking like this. And if you want to see how this was fixed properly, the full breakdown is linked on the screen. I actually do have a series of tutorials that explains in depth how to achieve this kind of result. That was based on the previous footage that I shot in downtown Montreal, and that is actually more complex than this one. So if you want to achieve that kind of result, you can check the link. And at the end of this video, I just would like to tell a few words that DJI Waypoints actually works, just not in the way many people believe. And if you ever wondered why two identical flights don't line up, this is why. The data doesn't lie, but it also doesn't tell the whole truth. And if you like this kind of videos, please like and subscribe to see more of the insights and testing and some really nice IRL footage. Thank you.